Welcome to this session, How to Become a Certified Legal Nurse Consultant with the Support of Mentors. If you talk to any business person, they will tell you that along the way, they've received a lot of guidance, a lot of mentoring, and sometimes just that bit of occasional advice or support that they've needed in order to become successful. And so that's what the focus of this webinar is about today, is how to become successful with the support of mentors. And one of the philosophies of the Institute is that they really believe that the education that you receive through the CLNC certification program should not stop when the program ends. In other words, once you're certified, that your real education begins when you go out there and you begin that launching of your business and getting going and growing that business. And so they want to support you, and that's what the mentors are for. So Susanna Raj, Robert Malaire, two mentors have joined me today for this webinar, and they are both experienced certified legal nurse consultants and also mentors for the Institute. And so, Suzanne, I'm actually going to start with you because one of my success principles is that thoughts drive our habits and habits drive our performance. So how would you say you as a mentor help to actually really help these certified legal nurse consultants to develop the right habits, which ultimately lead to that performance necessary to become successful?
Hi, Vicki. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. It's a process. I think that developing habits that we have honed in our clinical nursing experience will serve us well and do serve us well once we become certified legal nurse consultants. I really feel that being purposeful with each action and each goal that you set and developing kind of like a care plan, interventions to achieve that goal really drive the habit. So if you choose to be non-compliant with your care plan, right, then those habits are not going to be developed. So I think being purposeful is really an intentional. So many times when I speak to nurses that are considering this career path, it's like, oh, I've been thinking about it for 10 years and I keep getting the flyers. And so what's holding you back? Is it your non-compliant habits? Is it fear? What is it? So I think self-reflection and then being purposeful and intentional with each step towards your goal to become a legal nurse consultant will drive your business and drive your career path forward. Yeah,
such an excellent point. And, over the years, I've had so many RNs say, Vicki, you're so positive about just nurses in general, and you make me feel good to be a nurse again, because so often in their hospital setting or whatever setting they work in, they don't necessarily get a lot of positives from the people that they're surrounded by. And one of the reasons that this is so important to me is I do believe that success starts with those thoughts that you wake up to every morning. And I've met people that I know when they wake up in the morning, they say, I'm going to be successful today. It might not be the words that come out of their mouth, but it's the thoughts, right? And I've also met people who wake up every morning doubting themselves, as you're saying, with the fear, doubting their success. And so that's why I always say that success starts with those thoughts. Thoughts drive your habits. Habits drive your performance. Robert, the CLNC mentors combined have decades and decades of experience. And this is what qualifies the mentors, by the way, to mentor you, right? They're not giving you theoretical advice. They're out there in the real world working with real attorneys. And you can make these mistakes on yourself, just like some mentors themselves did many decades ago, or you can learn from their experience. And so, Robert, can you talk about why this is important and how you feel like as a mentor that your experience becomes their experience and really helps them to get started out of the gate a lot faster?
One of my personal beliefs is that failure is just a stepping stone to success. And I mean, each one of us mentors have made mistakes early on. I'm one of the newer mentors. I know some of the other mentors have been here a lot longer, and I've leaned on some of them for advice myself. But as a mentor, and especially as a new CLNC coming into the legal nurse consulting world, it's not a necessity to recreate the wheel or try to, burn your own path through, a crazy forest of complications. There are people here that have been there, done that, have kind of crossed these bridges and jumped hurdles before, and can kind of help you maneuver the legal nurse consulting world from starting your business to marketing your business to actually prepping a case or testifying in whatever setting that looks like. But there are people that have been there, done that, and probably have been down some path that is in alignment with whatever issue that the new CLNC is coming into. It can kind of direct, and if they don't know the exact answer, they can kind of guide them to where to get the answer or to be successful in the decision-making process for whatever issue that arises.
I always say that probably I wouldn't have even started a business if I had known all of the challenges that I would have met along the way, right? And so a lot of times, especially when you first get started, you don't really know what you don't know. And so, Suzanne, do you ever find that when you're mentoring the new consultants that they don't even know what they don't know quite yet?
Oh, yeah. But I have to laugh because when you say, had I known what it takes to run a business, it's so true. It's a lot. But yes, absolutely. When you're first starting out, you don't know what you don't know. And I think as mentors, we've all been there, done that. And we, as Robert mentioned, we make mistakes, and then, that is the stepping stone to success. And you know what? Even as experienced mentors and CLNCs, there's some missteps along the way, but we're better for it. And I think sharing those insights and letting the new CLNC consultant understand that, okay, maybe we're mentoring along the way and they're just not seeing the bigger picture. We're able to provide that bigger picture and give them a window to look through, is like really what's happening in the attorney's office behind the scenes, for example. You don't really know how that case development is moving forward. So absolutely, I think the coaching and that the mentors provide gives that deeper insight because we've been there, because we've experienced a wide variety of interactions, like Robert said, all the different roles that we play and all the different ways that we support the litigation process. And each one of us brings a different insight and a different level of expertise dependent upon the case. So we're really able to guide them and point out in the process what they might be missing in terms of what they don't know.
Just to add to what she just said, and I think this is really critical for anyone, and I just did some mentoring calls this morning, and I want to carry this over because one of the conversations I had was with somebody considering doing this, and her question was, how does the mentoring benefit me? It doesn't matter if you're a CLNC that just got through the program, or you are 6 years doing this as myself, or if you've been doing this for 20 or 30 years like other people. You have to always be open to understanding what you don't know. Every day I get presented with cases that I have never done before, and it's understanding and going through that process of identifying what is it about this that I don't know, because sometimes I still get cases and you get the butterflies in the stomach thing going, I've never done this before. But it's the willingness to address them and to go down that path and to embrace that. But always being honest with yourself, saying, I don't know this, but being open to talking to mentors or others that have been there. And that's the great thing from a clinical aspect as an RN, and having those mentors in place that helps you clinically. That same process is here as a legal nurse consultant, and there's people here that have been there and they can walk you through the processes too.
One thing I heard you say, Robert, is that it's okay to not know something. And that is so true, because what I love about attorneys is they don't expect you to know the answer to every question. What they need from you is to know how to find the answers, right? And so they get that you're not going to know the answer to everything. But again, always for me, the smartest person in the room is the person who knows what they don't know. And that person's not afraid to request help. And that's what the mentoring is all about. another important aspect of success is setting those goals, both short-term goals and long-term goals. And I think this is another area where mentors really help, especially the beginning certified legal nurse consultants. And so, Suzanne, would you comment on that, how you think you make a difference in terms of helping these new consultants set these goals for themselves, and both realistic, but also a little bit audacious at the same time?
Sure, that having those audacious goals are really important as well. So often after the CLNCs complete the course, it's all of a sudden they're sitting there in their home office going, okay, now what? And they become very, very overwhelmed because there is a lot of information. Okay, what do I do first? And even though, the course is very purposeful in what to do to get your business started, somehow along the way that can get a little muddled. So I think as a mentor, I'm very clear with the new CLNC to, okay, break it down. Short-term goals. First, tell me what you have done. And if I'm starting to hear the CLNC going, well, I want to get my database going on, and I kind of picked a business name, but then I don't know, I'm waiting on the state, but then I don't know what kind of business structure to have. And, and they're all over the place, right? So I really try to narrow that down. Okay, let's talk about your business structure and just talk about the basic principle and who do you know that can guide you with this, your CPA, your accountant, whatever it is. And I think that just reeling it in, as I like to say, right? Keep it very, very simple. Don't worry about your database. That's going to come and build itself with each case you achieve and each case you work up. Let's just talk about getting the client first. Don't worry about your database. Don't worry about networking with other CLNCs just yet. So I think just quantifying it and keeping it simple, kind of like a care plan, a short-term care plan. I keep circling back to this because I think as nurses, that's what we know. We know what that looks like. So create one for your business, just like a business plan. It's really the same thing, really.
And nurses already have all the skills to be successful. You're some of the most organized people that I know. You know how to set your priorities straight. If you're working, for example, with an acute care patient, you know how to do what's important to keep that patient alive, right? And so when you apply those same skills that you use every day in nursing to your business, you can be successful. And I think also your goals always start with that commitment to taking action every day. And I know you kind of hinted at that it's do something every day on your business. And really in the beginning, I'm not always so concerned about what you do, just that you do something, again, to kind of get into the habit. But as Suzanne suggested, as you begin to progress in your business, then you have to start focusing on those things that are going to get you where you want to be. For example, getting your first attorney client, getting that first case. So that's very important. Robert, we've all got busy lives, right? And life happens. And especially today, it kind of seems like the pace is like warp speed for most of us, right? And so all the more reason that accountability is important. So how do you hold these new certified legal nurse consultants who have invested in themselves, invested in the certification program? How do you hold them accountable to themselves and to their business to be successful?
I think this is one of the most important aspects of legal nurse consulting and business ownership that can be kind of portrayed to people coming into this field. I'm going to kind of answer the question you just talked to Suzanne about, and it kind of just carries over into what you just asked me. Long-term and short-term goals have to be developed to ensure the success of your business. If you don't know where you're going or how you're going to get there, the likelihood that you're going to be on the path to success is very low. And one of the things that I do initially when I speak to someone considering doing legal nurse consulting or just starting their legal nurse consulting business is, what have you done and what do you plan on doing? I don't care if it's right or wrong. I just want to know what it is that you're planning on doing. I want to see what type of involvement or or buy-in you have into this whole process and kind of what you're thinking and where you're going. Secondly, accountability is extremely important in business ownership because you're accountable to yourself. There's no one else going to make sure you're on time. There's no one else going to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, or marketing your business, or ensuring that you have success. You are responsible for your own success. As a mentor, I want to know that you're bringing something to the table, not just questions, but I want you to have kind of a mentality of thought process and working through it. Whenever I mentor somebody, just like I did this morning, my question is, well, what have you done? What do you plan on doing? And tell me kind of what your goals are. I want you to have kind of thought through that process as to what do you want to achieve. I don't want you achieving goals for me, because you'll never get there, because they're not yours. It's about establishing goals for yourself and being accountable to those goals and setting them up for yourself. One of the most important things that I can say about accountability as far as the mentors is I want to see follow-up. If you call me with, say, you're reviewing a case and you say, hey, I have this issue, I don't know what to do. And I encourage the CLNCs that call in that get mentoring. If you complete something, send it back in and have us look at it. We don't mind. That way you get the follow-up and the feedback on the completed product, as well as if you're having a problem, follow through on it. That's what we're here to do. And I fully encourage you to take advantage of ensuring that the final product kind of meets what we were looking at before. So accountability is huge at both the personal level and with the mentoring.
Thank you, Robert. I think many of us would agree that in life, it's kind of natural for us to navigate toward people who agree with us, right? But in business, the opposite is really important, that you have to almost surround yourself with people who are going to challenge you, challenge your presumptions, and even disagree with you, right? This is the only way that you are able to grow. And so while I don't think of the mentors as their only purpose to be to disagree with you, they are there to challenge you and to consider those outside perspectives, maybe some things that you can't see being on the inside. So Suzanne, I know that definitely this is one of your philosophies, that you really are comfortable challenging a CLNC consultant. And so how do you find they react to that outside perspective that you bring to them?
Yeah, it's true, Vicki. I do push the envelope. I push the buttons along the way when I'm speaking with another CLNC. I feel like at first I might get a little pushback depending upon the personality of the person I'm speaking with, of course. But in the long haul of the conversation, the perspective is well received. And I always preface that by saying, look, I'm going to challenge you, because guess what? This is what the attorney's going to do. The attorney's going to ask these very difficult questions. Some may be rhetorical, some may be, well, yeah, I already know that, and dismissive. But you have to always be at the ready. So it's almost like a role play when I speak with another CLNC that I'm mentoring. It's okay. Let me create a scenario for you, and this is what you need to expect when you're presenting your opinion, whether verbal or written work product, to your attorney client. Because remember, they're experts in arguing and litigation, perhaps, right? And so you really need to have a thick skin. And so part of preparing you for that interaction with your attorney client is to have a role play or a dialogue with a mentor. Who's best than a mentor, really? Because we have nothing to gain or lose by that conversation, but they have everything to gain or lose by having that same very conversation with their attorney client. So I think in the end of the phone call, my perspective and my challenging questions are well received because of the years of experience that I have, and because I've been doing this a long time, and because I have spoken with so many CLNCs and nurses over the years.
And do you want to just mention how many years of experience you have?
I have been a CLNC for 22 years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So any certified legal nurse consultant who has that privilege to be mentored by you, obviously they are privy to new thoughts, to fresh directions, to unique opportunities just because of what you bring to the table. And I think that's true of all the mentors, that this is what they bring to you. Robert, I always say that there are rules that certified legal nurse consultants should never break with their mentors. You've got any rules?
I have a couple. One of my biggest deals with, especially with rules with just the mentoring process, is we just ask that you go through the Institute to contact us after that initial contact. We have very specific schedules. We're CLNCs too. We're working, and the Institute knows when we're available, and they'll get you through to whatever or whichever one of us. Any one of us are glad to help you, but sometimes our schedules are kind of tight or full too. So go through the Institute to request mentoring instead of calling us or emailing us or texting us directly. That helps us, and that also helps the Institute kind of know what we're doing and what y'all are needing more of. Secondly, if I tell you something you don't want to hear, you probably needed to hear it in the first place. And I'll just say that. If you get angry or you get upset or you hear something you don't like, take a step back and look at it. A lot of the most of the mentors, like Suzanne just said, she's been doing this for over 20 years. I've been doing this for 6. I've reviewed over 1,000 cases now. If there's something I haven't seen, I'll tell you I don't know, and I will gladly refer you back to a different mentor. Very few times have I had to do that. But the reality is, when you get the feedback, there's a lot of times that I've been through a process where I don't like what I hear from an attorney, but I take it and I grow from it, and it's usually on me. But if you get the advice or something you don't like, or you're told that a report that you submitted kind of needs to be amended, the feedback's solid, and just take the advice and grow from it and learn from it. You can't submit something for recommendation or advice, and when you get critic or constructive criticism, be upset about it. We're here to help you grow. We want to help you in every way possible, and it should be a positive give and take. We're not just putting you down. We're actually trying to make it better.
I think that's so important. Resisting advice really doesn't help that consultant. It's really important to come to those mentors with a really open mind. The way that I always want the CLNC to think about it is there's nothing in it for the mentors, right? All they're there for is to help you succeed. And so when they advise you, it's not like they're gaining anything, whether you follow their advice or don't follow their advice. Obviously, it's something that they hope you'll do. But at the end of the day, they only have your best interest in mind. How about you, Suzanne? Any rule that you never want a CLNC consultant to break?
Well, Robert took my rules. No, I share the same rules as Robert. I think part of it is, I think overall the interactions with the CLNCs are very welcoming and really appreciative. But the common question is, well, just can I only speak to you? You've been so helpful. Can I only speak to you? And the answer is no, please go through the Institute. The other thing is too, if you have put in a mentor request and the mentor has called you at the specified time and you haven't responded, or or then the mentor is called a second time, you originally requested mentoring. So be responsive and be accountable to answering your call or answering the email to set up, or the text to set up that time to receive the mentoring that you requested originally, because our time is just as valuable as yours. And we want to be mentors. We enjoy this give back. Me personally, I am a mentor because I enjoy that. I want to see others succeed. And so be respectful of us and our time when we reach out in response to your request for mentoring.
Thank you, Suzanne. And a couple of other rules that I think I see sometimes broken is mentoring someone who hasn't really figured out what their issue even is. Now, there may be a situation where that's really okay, But a lot of times it's the person just really hasn't taken the time to think through their issue. Another one kind of related to resisting advice is sometimes I've had people say, yes, I understand I need to do this, but then they don't follow through on the advice, right? Because it takes some work. And I'll always remember one time I mentored two completely different people, but on some similar kinds of things. One person did the follow through. He was very successful. Another person really didn't want to do the work and didn't get the same positive results. And then finally, and I think one of you kind of alluded to this, but we're not there to make your business decisions for you. We're there to give advice. And I think that's important, that ultimately you have to make that final business decision. And that's what that accountability comes back to. So it's your business. You have to make the call. Like I always say, for me with my own business, the buck stops with me, right? And that's how it works. And that's a good thing, because the more accountable you are, the more successful you're going to be. I also do want to mention that beyond the individual mentoring that the Institute offers for the CLNC graduates, one thing that the Institute also offers are webinars, and they usually do 1 to 2 webinars for certified legal nurse consultants per month. And these are more advanced types of education series. They're also a great opportunity for the CLNCs to network with each other. In fact, we'll be doing one today at 3:30. And one of the things I always enjoy is, like, before I even come in, there's already lots of conversation going on among all the CLNCs. So they're in there, they're networking, they're doing business with each other. So that's another aspect of mentoring that the Institute offers as well. And finally, just in closing, I just want to say that life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. That's where life begins. And as mentors, our job is to nudge you toward that edge and toward your next level of success. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And thank you, Suzanne, and thank you, Robert.